This is the HC locker room.
Bat cave, yeah.
And there's a used condom on the floor.
Is it really? Yeah. You're
Jeff,
all like,
don't touch it.
No. Sam! Oh, and now he's pregnant.
Boys and girls of all ages, children of every side. Highest broken up, beat down computer phone 100 miles. I'm not living in the past, I'm just trying to explain in a new Sunday to judge the distance between moving on and the singing ultimate.
Hello, welcome to 3 Gigs, the podcast that tells the story of 3 shows that shape a performer's life and career. Their first show, their best show, and their worst show. My name is Dominic Davy, and today I'm talking to the World Inferno Friendship Society.
A dozen jokes, remarks, and incidents forming a pattern. Motivated by the obscure and when was it to happen? Bitterness corrupts you so.
Hailing from Brooklyn, New York, the World Inferno Friendship Society started in 1996, and their style merges punk, soul, klezmer, and jazz, while its collective membership features horns, piano, and guitar, and has a membership of about 40 players, of whom only about 7 to 10 active members usually perform at a time. The group is led by singer Jack Terrycloth, who's been the only constant during the group's history. Their most recent album is All Borders Are Porous to Cats, and it came out on Alternative Tentacles Records on February 5th, 2020. Now, I recorded these stories as part of a larger podcast I recorded for Alternative Tentacles Records. It's called the bATcast. You can check out episode 156 on that podcast that went up on February 14th, 2020 to hear the full conversation. But this was their stories for 3 Gigs. Now, World Inferno is a fantastic band and a great group of people. I cannot recommend them enough. So please take a listen to the band sharing their stories, and I think you'll enjoy it as much as I did. Starting with, of course, their first shows ever.
Okay, you first.
Oh.
But keep it short.
I think that was when I was a 3-year-old in pre-K. And
really?
yeah, I think so. I started playing violin at age 2.5.
That's amazing.
So there's some. If you are a friend of mine on Facebook, you can, look through my photos and
actually see you
Some
at 2.5 playing, 2, 3 years old.
Yeah.
That's impressive. That is the youngest answer to that question I've ever.
It was too early. I stopped. I gave it up at 3 because it was too difficult. But then I started again at 3.5. I was more mature.
I really like that you retired at 3. You're like, I'm done. There's just no more. I can't do this anymore. And then at 3.5, you're like, I can't stay out of it. I have to come back.
Yeah.
The music's got me, and I'm back in.
But yeah, I had some fun performances.
I just
at
can't
age
quit
4,
you.
something like that.
Coincidentally, that was also his best gig. 2 of the 3 right there.
That's incredible. Okay. Anyone else? First show.
Jean Marie, what was your first show?
My first show was at a really wonderful club in the East Village called Brownies. I'm sure some of you will remember
Brownies,
wonderful Brownies. And it was only 3 weeks after I'd picked up the bass, and I wasn't sure if I would be able to do it at all. And I would say my first proper punk rock show. And I had a great time. I was like, and I was like, okay, I can do this. And then I discovered that because I'd been incredibly inexperienced, my amp wasn't loud enough and no one could hear me. So that was my first show.
That's why everyone was like, you killed it.
Yeah.
You're like,
You sure were there.
Yeah.
all right. Anyone else? First show.
Aaron?
I mean, my first show as musician in a band was in high school at a Unitarian church, but it's not that interesting. My first show with Inferno was after they had been booted from the Attics tour on somewhat sketchy pretenses and landed in Chicago not having a show that night, so we booked them, and Jack finally strong-armed me into playing with the band after 15 years of friendship.
It did take a really long time.
Yeah.
You were like pressed into service like the old English Navy. They like just grabbed you from a town and like.
It had been a lot.
Have you been
It
home
was more
since?
that you owed me a lot of money. And
Yeah, right,
You
exactly.
have to work this off.
So it's like Sloop John B. Like what's going on?
Yeah,
Like,
something like that, and get up there, do a few songs, and I could see the baleful look in the other sax player's eyes, like, "Ooh, I'm not going to be around long." She wasn't.
oh. What? A little bit of sizzle on
Yeah.
that one. Perfect. Okay. Moving down the line.
I think my first show was a backyard show, and our singer was really bad, but when you're 14-ish, everybody's too shy to sing, so the one person who said, okay, I'll do it, was the person who was the singer.
Yeah.
So it was, we were all...
Or the one who couldn't play the bass.
He couldn't play an instrument, and nobody really liked him or thought he was good, but he was the only one willing to do it. So that's the earliest one I remember.
That's good. Great starts.
If I remember correctly, my first show that I ever played, I was probably 17 or 18. It was a backyard punk show on Long Island with my old punk band from that time, the Microwave Orphans. I am pretty sure...
How were they orphaned by a microwave?
No, it's a very conceptual...
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
Anyway, I do remember our singer getting completely naked. And by the way, he was and still is completely sober. He just...
It just was hot.
He
Some
likes
people
getting
like to get
naked.
naked.
It's for fun.
Some punks need to be naked.
Yeah.
Did he
Jack,
look
I would
better
love
naked?
to know your best show too.
What's that?
Yeah.
Jack's best.
Well, I want to
show.
hear the first show, and then I really want to hear your best show, and we'll start back.
First show, I was in a band called Neurotic Impulse, which I remember because I have a very unfortunate tattoo on my chest. It was, I think, a county fair or something. It was outside, and we were sub-skill level musicians playing hardcore punk in front of a bunch of farmers who were sipping tea. We were well loved.
Yeah, I bet that went over
Happily. The singer went on to be in that band Vision, who became popular at one point. Funny guy, and he got us through it by simply being charming. But yeah, we were pretty much playing like A chords wrong. Yes.
All right. So starting then back around, what's the best show?
What is the best show? It's gotta be one of the Hollow Masses.
Yeah.
But which one?
Well, what was a good moment? When I say best show, everyone, the best show you performed. Think of this, the moment that you stood up there and went, "This is why I'm doing this. This is why I keep doing this."
Not to be every night. I feel that way.
That's a good answer because
The moment I step
Lord
on
knows this isn't
stage,
easy.
I am absolutely elated. The moment before I step on stage, I'm absolutely terrified. But really, once I hear the kick for tattoos,
you're into it.
I am all there.
That's amazing. That's awesome. That's a good answer. What about you guys? Let's open it up. Best shows, moment that you kind of went, yeah.
I mean, the first time that I saw people I didn't know knowing the words to songs I'd written,
That's an
definitely
incredible feeling.
describes what you're
Yeah.
suggesting. Yeah.
Yeah. Any other particular moments for anyone that you'd stand out in your mind? I mean, maybe by age 5?
That was my peak.
I only tease because that's impressive. That's the only
Thanks.
reason I tease.
Well, this was a very horrible show that, in another sense, was like giving me that feeling you're talking about. I was on tour with this trio I used to play with, Valerie Kuna and the Wasp's Nests, and I got really sick on this tour. I got sick on the tour that we were on a month ago, and that was bad, but this was worse.
That was
Really?
Yeah.
Being
yeah.
sick on tour is the worst.
Well, first of all, we had this incredible drive over 4 days from Arizona to Iowa,
Jesus.
and playing every night. And I had diarrhea. It's like,
Please go on.
you have like to do an 8 or 9 hour drive from
gonna go
Denver to Omaha, and like the car can't stop every 15 minutes or you'll never get there. And so I'm just like in the back, I'm trying to hold it, you know?
Yeah, I know.
It's real bad, and like it's
Right,
messing
Imodium. Just buy Imodium.
And this is your best gig?
You know, it's down there and up there. But, you know, so the amazing thing was I felt like we got to the clubs, or like in many cases they were house shows, and I like could not stand up. I was lying down on the couch, like just trying to like nap.
Yeah.
And we'd start the set. I was so cold that I had to perform in my winter jacket. This was also like in February or something. and so weak that I had to play sitting down, whereas usually, you know, I'm like swaying all around the stage. But like, as I played the music, like, and felt the energy of the crowd, like, it literally felt like the health was returning to my body, and I was getting warmer, and like at the end of every night, I was able to like stand and rock out, and it was like, you know, it's not just that music, you know, feeds my ego or it's something that I feel that I'm good at. It also gives me an unparalleled sense of well-being that I haven't found from anything else.
That's awesome. Adrenaline's a hell of a chemical.
I was gonna say the exact same thing.
Yeah, it's like that's what carries through so much.
I would also like to point out, this is the HC locker room.
Bat cave, yeah.
And there's a used condom on the floor.
Is there really?
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna have to do a little bit of investigation from that because.
Oh, sorry, is that yours?
Anne Marie, you? We're having a talk. That might be a write-up, and I only say might because it might be a high five too. Because I want to congratulate anyone who makes this place feel romantic. I feel like sometimes I come to work and a 14-year-old like.
Don't touch it.
Don't touch it.
No.
Oh, and now he's pregnant. Great.
It's the leg of a chair.
Oh.
I mean, you know those things that go on the bottom of the leg of a chair.
You know, I actually feel like the story was better when it was a
Yes.
Don't scream, Steph, don't touch it.
I think I might cut it there and then continue. Jeff, don't touch it! And then go back to and then play like 50s music where it's like, we'll be back after this interruption. We're experiencing technical problems on this podcast. Hi everyone, Jeff's dead.
Back to diarrhea.
Okay, so topping diarrhea, what is everybody's worst show? What's a good worst show that you've experienced? Those are the moments where you're like, what the fuck am I doing and why am I here?
I want to hear with Inferno.
With Inferno?
Yes.
Everyone gets real quiet.
Well,
I don't think
Never played a bad show, Joe?
I've never played a bad show. Actually, shows that got canceled.
Yeah.
would
that's
be,
a bummer.
or shows like we were there too late to play, which is always very, very embarrassing. There was one show where no one told us at a matinee, so we got there at 7. They're like, "Yeah, gosh, you guys are supposed to play at 3," and there were a lot of people here to see you. And so,
Yeah, that's a rough one.
I would say for me, my worst show with World Inferno was I had to jump on a plane, a red-eye, to get home to my sister's wedding the next day. So the show was already stressful and rushed because it was the first time I was ever traveling with my giant keyboard. And there was no sound. I wasn't turned on at all. So
That's rare.
And on top of that, there was faulty stage wiring, and smoke started pouring out of said keyboard.
Wow.
Yes.
that was like last week, wasn't
Yeah,
a few months ago.
it was a few months ago. Well, the company was very nice enough to send me a replacement, which was very cool.
That is cool.
No.
Can I comment on that?
it? Oh, please.
So that was the night of the when they played Sacramento. It was during the second night of Alternative Tentacles Fest, and Itch.io was playing, and I really wanted to see Itch.io. So I was bailing on World Inferno as their manager. I was like, I gathered all my clothes, and while they were playing, I was gonna sneak out the door and then go see Itch.io. And so I got all my shit, and I'm walking out the door, and my friend comes up to me, and they're like, "Bill, Matt's keyboard is on fire." And I stood there, I turned around, and then I looked at the exit, and I turned back around, and I'm like, fuck. So, I was gonna miss Itch.io. But so that's what I remember. It's like I wanted Inferno to bring the fire back to the live show, but not at that moment. But
Not like this.
Yes, I just went on stage, I unplugged it, and then I left and saw Itch.io, and it was amazing.
I was gonna say you did catch the Itch.io show. I remember you made it. All right, what about you guys over there? Worst show.
That's not re-experienced.
Yeah. That bad,
huh?
That bad.
I think just the feelings that you get from not performing as well as you'd like to are just things you'd like to forget so that you can move on and have better shows.
You'll be the one. I find that we are our own worst critics. Like, you know when you've done a bad job. I've never seen anybody walk away from, even when I've witnessed somebody having a hard time up there, I've never seen a musician walk off going, I killed it. Like, you always know that you've had a hard time. Even if some people don't notice, because you're not turned up very loud.
Well, you remember the Cleveland one that was like Feedback Festival? Were you on that too? Where the monitors were just howling.
Oh,
It's the only time
yeah.
I've worn earplugs on stage in a 20-year touring
Turn
musical career.
down the bright.
Dude, if you can imagine every single thing feeding back across the front in this 100-cap club, it was the most painful show I've ever.
And we were trying to sound check, and the owner's band was rehearsing downstairs.
Yes.
Oh, God.
Wow.
So we had to
So
wait
glad I
for his
blocked
band
these things
practice to
out.
finish.
That's a candidate. That was rough. That was
tough
hard
one.
and hurt a lot.
Ernesto Miranda, I just don't understand ya. It's clear what worked for you don't work for me. I broke the first law, something that I should have saw, and now I'm sitting in county. Broken knuckles or broken...
You've been listening to the World Inferno Friendship Society, and yes, the episode would have been better if it had actually been a used condom that Jack found on the floor of Alternative Tentacles. But if you didn't catch it, it was actually a furniture scuff pad from the bottom of the bar stools. I am still surprised Jeff went in to pick it up. If you want to know more about the World Inferno Friendship Society, check out their website at worldinferno.com. And a very special shout out to Bill Cashman, band manager, for helping make this episode happen. That's him telling the story about sneaking out on the band to see Itch.io. And he did do it. If you want to find out more about 3 Gigs Podcast, well, that's awesome. You can find us at 3gigspodcast.com and on any social media platform by searching the number 3 Gigs Podcast. 3 Gigs Podcast, easy to find. If you're listening to the show through Apple Podcasts, please consider rating and reviewing the podcast. We appreciate them very much. However, if everyone listening could tell one person that you think would like to hear the stories from this show, that would do more than anything else for us, and we would appreciate it. I would appreciate it. So please, let somebody you know who you think would enjoy the show about it. It means a lot. This episode opened with the song Bad Penny, and we are closing with 3 parts, WTF, both from the album All Borders Are Porous to Cats, out now on Alternative Tentacles Records. Thank you for listening, everyone. I hope you had a good time. Stay tuned for next week, and I'll see you then.
I know why the cage dog howls. It howls and it howls again. I know why the cage dog howls and howls and howls. Oh no, I'll just come out and say it. You're a visionary, you're not a charlatan.